Alright, and welcome back to the Scorchfarer. Now I'm thinking if I should just go into like play it until it's done mode. Kinda like Zelda ROM hacks. What is that? It's self-explanatory, but you know, it's like, okay, I've been playing this for a while. It hasn't gotten done yet. So I guess I'm just going to play it until it's done. Well, hopefully it doesn't take that long. I mean, I think we should be like on the final stretch of this visual novel. And I mean, I don't mind. I mean, because it's more content. But I'm thinking recording wise because just the way I record the games. I always say this, but I guess I need to explain it from the beginning. Uh, I used to watch a lot of this guy named Seamus, SSOHPKC. He will make let's play of well pretty much anything, honest. And well, what he did is like he will record hours of games and he will upload those hours into YouTube. Like I think he was upload a good example. He was uploaded like GTA 5, and he will upload like hours per day of that game. Why do I mention this? Because I mean I upload like 1 hour a week because I don't want to I don't want to dogpile the subscription feed. However, this also means that things take a lot longer to finish, and the interest may just dwindle on whatever time it takes me to finish. Like, I was recording this Zelda ROM hack, the Seal Palace, and I think it's like 20 parts, which, if we consider the normal schedule, is like 1 part per week. So how much will that be? 3, 4, 5 months, somewhere around that. 4 episodes per month. So yeah, 5 months of just playing the Seal Palace, and I'm pretty sure the interest of that ROM hack dwindle because when it's brand new, everyone wants to watch it. But if it's like months, then yeah, it's kind of like dwindling. And it depends, right? I mean, because I mean, for example, if Mark but I was doing it, I guess people watch it regardless. But you know, I guess smaller creators do go through that of losing interest. I'm not saying I'm losing interest or that this is getting any lost interest. I'm just like saying that since I have been recording this for a while now, well, it's happening. But still, I don't think I will change it. At least, no, I don't think I will change it because I do like just recording in this way and manner, just the way Let's Play used to be done. It's like someone's playing the game, you see the entire broad of it. If there are parts that I can cut, like you know, I'm grinding some part of the game experience or something like that, or it's something that we saw, but I'm just redoing it, then I cut it. But I try to show the game as is, because now the thing that is more favored is just like cut playthroughs. Like someone uploads a video, could be an hour, 2, or whichever time it is, but it's like the entire game just cut. Which is fine, alright? And I may be interested in doing that, but it requires like uh, some hefty editing. Because besides showing like the most important parts of the playthrough, they also just, you know, edit the funny within the video, so you know. I mean, for example, 20 hours of that game caught in one video. Well, it's not impossible, but what I'm saying is it will take a lot of time. Maybe in the future I do it, we'll see. Well, anyways, 4 minutes just rambling on, I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, hopefully I can just keep recording this until I'm done, and then just have it on backlog. Currently I'm doing that with the Mario ROM hack, the Monsters Manor, but I think next week is going to be done. What am I going to replace it with? Well, I'll figure that later. Anyways, Continuing, Ika hoped of Agnes back the moment they arrived at the cordon of section of the academy. The lower area of the academy was undergoing an expansion due to the Wanderlust program receiving a push from the USU government. I like that Reisu uses, the Wanderlust kids. It's like, oh yeah, the university project that we have bigger problems to be dealing with. Magic terrorists. Like, it's like some sort of community project, like an internship program. I mean, of course, there's like big people involved in the Wanderlust program, and it's important for the existence of the of the population. But it's like, yeah, the Wanderlust kids. Well, anyways, 3 months into the project, the expansion was postponed and eventually abandoned, leaving the area empty for more than half a year. Only authorized personnel could be read on a beaten up sign that was laying on the floor. There's usually someone patrolling this area. Weird. They really didn't want anyone in here, Ika said. It was almost impossible to see past a few meters into the construction area as there was no light source in it. Upon hearing something deep inside, Ika became startled and grabbing onto Agnes' arm. It was just the wooden wall creaking. Calm down, Agnes said the moment he felt his arm being pulled. If someone shows up, I can always run while you fly away, Agnes said. Ika released Agnes' arm and showed him an angry expression with her eyes screaming, Are you trying to piss me off? You want to use me as bait or something? I can fly as fast as you can run, she shouted. Agnes waved his hand right in front of her face. Alright, I'll carry you. You happy, princess? Agnes said, not wanting to get into a fight with Ika. Ika nodded twice with her arm crossed, satisfied with his response. Agnes rolled his eyes before speaking. Do you feel anyone's presence? Agnes asked. No, but maybe if we move a little deeper, Ika said. Why would they abandon something so big? There are only a few possibilities I can think of. Short of money, which is impossible for the academy, or maybe an accident happened, Agnes said. Let's go. If there's nobody down there, technically, it is the safest place in all of Blue Pomo, Ika said before pulling Agnes' arm. Technically right. But if it's not, we're fucked. Agnes sided and allowed Ika to pull him. Even though Ika was the one to go over the core first, she remained fairly close to Agnes as soon as they were on the other side. Agnes examined the planks that blocked the entrance. They had been there for quite a long time, so the nails that held the planks had become rusty. He used his claws to pull 2 of the planks, creating enough of a gap for them to squish through. Ugh. So nasty in here. The area around the construction site appeared to be plagued with cobwebs, covered in a thin layer of dust. Abandoned piled construction materials, unfinished rooms, and debris became a common sight quite soon. The foul stench of blood caterpillars droppings filled the air just a few steps in the construction site. When not in check, the creatures that inhabit the inner chambers of the tree would slowly reclaim it. Without proper care, the interior could become inhospitable again in a matter of weeks. Well, as long as there are no giant spiders. Could be wrong about this. And as long as there's no dangerous breathing spores or something. There were no caterpillars around, but they could hear them from within the holes of the rotting wood around the construction site. As anti-Magi, they had no way of creating artificial light themselves. However, being a lost Alfred and a loafer, they had innate night vision capabilities. It could release her horns and tail so she could see properly. Most of these looked like classrooms. Not quite sure about some others, Ika said. Ugh, scrolling. Yeah, I would like to see more dynamic movement in the background too. Would be nice. As they made their way down the empty main corridor of the unfinished expansion, they came to find a stairway that led to a lower level. They stared at the doorway for a moment and remained silent, which allowed them to hear a distant sound, a song. Agnes, he came on upon hearing the startled sound coming from down below. A Prims player, Agnes said. Are you sure you want to come with me? I really doubt someone normal will be listening to music in a place like this, he continued. Ika took a moment to respond. She was clearly gathering the courage to tag along. Yes, I will go, Ika said before grabbing Agnes' arm really tight. I said I will stick with you, Ika said with a lot of confidence in her voice. Agnes simply smiled at her before making their way downstairs. The stairs took a U-turn, which led them right under the room they were just in. Creepy constructions. As soon as they stepped onto the floor below, they found more of the same. The sound was coming from a room next onto the hallway they were in, a room without a door. Agnes and Mika moved slowly towards the doorway, making sure they didn't get spotted by anyone that could be looking inside. The song was very soothing, with a lot of wind instruments accompanying the main melody. The room they were eyeing was much smaller than the rest. It didn't appear that it was meant to be a classroom, just like the others. Only the carving had been completed, as the wooden walls had not been sanded, leaving the rough texture on the walls untouched. They noticed that there was furniture in the room, a chair and a nightstand being the most noticeable. A Prims player was resting on the nightstand, right next to the chair, which was playing the music from. Upon further inspection, they saw someone was sitting onto the chair, which was oriented away from the entrance. The hand of the person sitting was a dead giveaway of who they were dealing with. The ashy skin tone was all they needed to recognize that person. Nate was sitting on the chair, his hand, which was laying on the armrest, had his fingers moving erratically. The principal appeared to be in a very deep trance. Agnes made a signal to Ika with his hand, telling her to follow him. They both followed against the walls so they wouldn't get spotted. That's Nave. Something isn't right. Why hasn't he noticed us yet? Agnes whispered. His presence is concealed, anti-magic, Ika muttered. I don't think he is even conscious, Ika responded. They remained silent for a moment. Agnes, I cannot let my mother. She knows exactly where I am. Should I? Ika asked. They both heard Nave standing up from his chair. The Prims player was stopped soon enough. Agnes quickly pulled Ika away. They both went through the entrance of the room onto the other side of the hallway, across the one Nave was in. Oh, exactly. Would you make a lot of noise? Agnes whispered. He peeked outside of the room to check out on Nave. My face. I can feel it with blood. It becomes like a beacon for our own kin, Ika explained. The moment Ika stopped talking, Agnes noticed Nave's ashen hand grab onto the half-down door frame. Agnes quickly moved his head out of sight. Alright, this quickly turned into horror. It's like, oh, it's kinda creepy. Oh, now it's creepy. It's creepier. I heard you. Come out now. I may have lost a few puppets, but I can still hear you, Nave said in a very nasal, echoey voice. Agnes felt Ika squeeze his arm as soon as they heard those last words. He looked at the girl and nodded at her. Ika stared at Agnes for a moment before closing her eyes. Her face slowly turned a light pink color. This caused Nave to look in the one direction of the room they were in. They both heard Nave step closer towards them. It was a little too late to get away now, so he was ready to grab Ika and run away if needed. Yeah, dude, you need to bolt it. This didn't right. Ika focused on keeping her beacon up. Agnes felt this small amount of magical energy coming from her was happening in waves. The sound of Nave's footstep ended as he was around halfway there. Agnes swallowed saliva, and after a few seconds he peeked outside the room. There was nowhere to be found. Agnes felt his eyes become itchy. A thin mantle of ash had fallen on top of him from above. That's nice. That's nice. Do you think? I mean, kind of a dick move, but Would it have been a bit shocking seeing like the veil of name just peek from the top of the screen and then we see this CGI? I mean, big move for the reader, alright? But the immersion could not be beaten. Just this scared living daylights while it's reading. Just saying. After rubbing his eye with his lips, he opened his eyes slowly. He came face to face with Nave, who was crawling from above and staring at them from there. His entire body has turned into ash, and made his way inside of the room through the top of the doorway. Nate looked at them with a confused and worried expression. Ika kept her eyes shut upon hearing the strange sounds that surrounded them. If I can see it, it isn't there. Agnes couldn't even vocalize his shock, remaining frozen in place as he just stared back. What the fuck is this guy? Well, you had creepy momento over there. Creepypasta momento. I mean, pretty good, honestly. Everyone's gonna rush in here. What the fuck is happening? Get out of the way before we arrest you as well, who said in an annoyed voice, while she pointed her broadsword towards Foran. One Milier, being led by Maldov, had reached the construction site just in time to witness Foran and his assistant arrive. They were both blocking the way. Maldov was deeply concerned. She wanted to get past Foran and go directly to her daughter, but she knew in her condition she would probably get pummeled by the large man. You have no power over Lupom anymore. That ended as soon as we arrived. What do you have to say in your favor? Milier asked. There was still one constellation on the loose that you can't even control. Students are in danger. And you even failed to complete your main objective, Milier said with a disdain towards Foran. There was no response from him, which made Milier speak again. What kind of squad leader lets his own underlings do all the work? Milier retorted. I don't see your precious shouts around, and as far as I am concerned, wouldn't that apply to her as well? Foran said. You know very well she can't. Don't feign ignorance, Wu said. Foran had his back towards the construction site, giving his full attention to the commanders and Moldov. Miller knew very well the tactics that the men used, trying to undermine their efforts so he couldn't get what he wanted. Foran looked at Wu directly before speaking towards her. Wu, deja vu. This is only the second time we have met in person. Both times you had the same amazing expression. I really can't get enough of it, Foran said while staring at Wu with a slight smile on his face. Alright, a little creepy. Wu squeezed the handle of Salmon, refraining herself from responding to his exasperating words. What a disgusting face. Stop that, Milier said. Foran didn't appear to be bothered by the comment. If you keep causing any further trouble, we'll challenge what you do and say. If anything happens to Nave, be certain that you will be the first suspect, Milier continued. Foran remained silent upon hearing that, keeping a very calm expression on his face. Every second that passed, Maldo became more distraught by the situation. Wu spoke to Milier in a low voice. I don't understand. Why did he show up just now? Why not let us handle this whole situation? Is he trying to save face with the government? This attitude of his doesn't tell me anything. Wu said as she kept staring at the man. That's good enough, this. Foran said to his assistant, something that only Wu got to listen because of her fox hearing from such a distance. Excuse me, the man said before he started moving past the cord and towards the construction site. This didn't move and kept staring at them. Foran pushed his own chest, creating a shockwave that destroyed the rest of the planks that were blocking his way. This was forced to step forward once because of this, but she soon regained her footing. Foran! Milier screamed as she stepped forward. It took Wu a second to realize what was going on, but it wasn't enough time to warn Milier about it. Vertical hair-like structures had appeared in their path. They were hard to see, but were noticeable when the light hit them from the right places. Wait! Wu shouted, but it was too late. Milier stepped right into this trap. As if they were intangible, the hair-like fibers phased through her, cutting Milliard in half. Milliard noticed this right away and stopped walking. She felt her body split in two, however physically she wasn't affected at all. An out-of-body sensation that neutralized Milliard instantly. She wasn't able to coordinate her body because of the bifurcation in her sight. The gap between the vision from both eyes extended endlessly. A sharp pain invaded Milliard's forehead, which forced her down on her knees, dropping her speed immediately. What is happening to me? Ah! Milliard moaned as she grabbed her face and stared intensely at the floor to prevent further disorientation. The pain was tolerable, but the vertigo was unmanageable. Maldo wanted to get close to Milliard, but since she couldn't properly see where all the threats were, she knew it was inevitable for her to fall victim to it as well. Maldo, don't move, Wu said with a calm expression. Speaking of creepy sights. Yeah, so something like this, but on the previous the scene, yeah, you will shit bricks. You will shit bricks. The assistant's antennae squirmed and twisted, creating more fibers in their path without moving an inch. Why won't she create them from underneath us? Maldo asked, not understanding the approach to her attack. It's a jinx, not a spell, Wu explained. Maldo instantly understood what Wu meant at the moment. Jinxes were different from spells. They required the victim to fulfill certain conditions for it to latch onto them, in this case, willingly walk through the air to the hair-like structures. I don't think I can cut them down, Wu said with a worried smile. Maldo's eyes widened, shocked that the commanders had been incapacitated by such a frail-looking girl. She checked on Milliard after a moment, who had decided to keep her eyes closed and listen to them both speak. Her eyes would change color every now and then, letting Wu and Maldo know that she was hard at work to keep her defense up. It should be easy for me to shoot at her from here. Do I proceed? Maldo asked Wu, since she was the only one with a long-range attack capabilities. You will get caught in it, Wu said. Maldo looked at Wu with a confused expression. What do you mean? Wu didn't respond and continued staring at this. Maldo began noticing the jade-colored strings all around her, some of them just a few centimeters away from her body. Even lifting her arms would cause her to get jinxed. Wu remained calm, something that reassured Maldo that the commander probably knew how to proceed. Alright. I mean, I'm surprised how much... Oh, he's this guy again. How much, let's say budget went on these last chapters. We apologize for sneaking up on you like that, Agnes said to the principal. Nate was standing in front of them, as uninviting as he usually looks. He was actually quite beloved among the student body. Yeah, we love our grim teacher. He didn't seem particularly affected by the intrusion of Agnes and Ika, who weren't sure if Nate was someone they should be careful of. I'm done playing around. Those puppets have fulfilled their purpose, Nate said. Puppets? Ika asked after a moment. She silently grasped. You mean the Constellatio? Nate nodded. You were controlling them? Ika asked with an angry expression. One of them attacked us at the observatory, Ika shouted. She couldn't wait to hear Nave's explanation. I'm not controlling them consciously, Nave said. The man showed them his hand, which was made out of ash. It appeared to be moving on its own. Controlling wouldn't be accurate. They are looking at an alternative reality in which they must follow the simple rules I said, Nate began explaining. I just weave new visuals on top of the ones they are currently experiencing, so it remains consistent with the narrative I whisper into their heads, Nate explained. It certainly looked like he wasn't the one moving his fingers on his own accord. So they are acting like they would do normally, but they are being tricked by a fabricated situation, Agnes said. Hurting students wasn't among their instructions. If they attacked you, they probably thought that whatever you two were doing was going against the main rule that I set, not allowing you to leave this academy, Nave explained. But why? Ika asked. Nave kept quiet for a moment. Ika and Agnes had just noticed how creepy the principal was when he was this silent. A man named Ferran is trying to falsely imprison me for crimes I didn't commit, Nave finally explained. I knew I had a chance at a fair trial if Xiao Zhen seized control of the academy, he continued. Agnes and Ika had a lot of questions, but they weren't sure if they had time for all of them to be answered. But what if Xiao didn't take the bait? Ika asked, doubting the man's plan. There was a chance, albeit a small one. But I know that, Fox. She wouldn't allow the fate of the students of Lu Pomo to remain uncertain when she has the academy at her doorstep, Nave said before releasing a short, creepy laugh. Why is your spell still active? You got what you wanted, Agnes asked while staring at Nave's hand. Nave didn't seem to care much about it until Agnes pointed it out. I don't know what is happening up there. I'll trust your words, though. Nave said it before closing his fist, destroying his own hand in the process. The ash forming his hand fell onto the floor. When the ash moved under his robes and a new hand was created. Nave's hands remained motionless thereafter. He stared at it as he perfected it, as if he was chiseling in his mind. Nave's gaze moved around the room until it finally rested on Ika and Agnes once more. This made the girls instinctively pull Agnes away from the principal. Agnes tensed up upon being pulled by Ika. What exactly happened at your office? Agnes said. I will describe that interaction as an attack rather than an arrest, Nave said. Do you know why they wanted to arrest you? Agnes asked. Nave didn't respond immediately. Come with me, Nave said. He started moving towards the end of the hallway, stopping after a moment to make a hand gesture, telling them to follow. Ika and Agnes stared at each other for a moment before complying. I prepared myself before they came. A good friend of mine read a file that was submitted to the Investigation Bureau about my upcoming arrest and came to tell me personally a few weeks ago. He knew that I was innocent, Nave explained as he kept moving. If you knew this was going to happen, why didn't you tell Xiao beforehand instead of doing this? Ika shouted in a muffled voice. Nave stopped and looked over his shoulder, which made Ika hide her face behind Agnes' shoulder, picking just slightly. Ah! Ika yelped. The Fox wouldn't have been able to do a thing. Lu Pomo was built by the government after all, Nave said. If you speak the truth about the Ashen Five being here, that means the Academy becomes hers, temporarily, until the investigation is finished, Nave explained before resuming his throne. Agnes and Ika remained silent and followed Nave without saying a word. The principal took them towards the hall that appeared to be completely black. At their end, Agnes asked while he stared at the wall. Ika squinted her eyes, examining the wall. There is no wall, Ika said with a confused expression. Agnes looked over at Ika and then back at the wall. His eyes widened as he noted that there was a hole in the wall. What is that? Agnes asked. Jaren West born a Kata's meal, Nave said in a strange tone. The reason why Ferran wants to take control of Lu Pomo, he continued. What you're looking at is the hollow interior of the tree. This chamber has remained undisturbed for thousands of years. What? What is the meaning of those words? Agnes asked. The all-seeing Jaren's refugee. Nave responded right away. Nave approached the hole and placed one of his fingers against the walls of the interior, filling it with magical energy. A strange sound was heard, followed by hundreds of eyes appearing in the darkness of the hollow interior of the tree. This is a familiar sight. No pun intended. The eyes looked around erratically, and eventually all of them settled on Nave, Ika, and Agnes. Ika and Agnes had seen this before. They had visited Mayor's temple at some point in their lives when they were younger. Said temple houses one of the fragments of Jaren, the main god of Cap, one of the three main religions in the old world. The fragment that was hanging from the ceiling and moving within this very same ghoul-like material within the temple. A fragment of urine? Are you telling us there is one here? Agnes asked with fear in his voice, not being able to look away at the eyes that were staring at them. I don't think so. It is only a large deposit of bar, Nave said. Bar? Ika asked, as she has never heard of the term before. It's how they called it before the fire rain. That is the collective name that was given to this thing. The only element found in this world in which urine and other gods can move through. Nave explained. Bar means refugee in the old world. It was considered a sacred substance and was believed to have originated from deep underground. The followers of Urn said that it all came from a leak directly from the fissures in the walls of the Divine City, Nave explained. Alright, it says Nave, but Get out of the void, Agnes asked. Nave nodded. Ghosts can only manifest their physical forms within, and even then, it is only concepts that manage to get through to the physical world. The fragments cannot be touched since they are thoughts, but they can be transported if you manage to find a way to move the bar around, which is almost impossible because of its toxicity, Nave continued. Its name isn't thought anymore, it remains nameless, mostly because of religion being cast into obscurity, Nave said. The eyes closed one by one. They didn't appear to be interested in Nave, Agnes, or Norika. I remember those eyes very well. I always thought it was part of Yearn and that the eyes were just an extension of them. What is bar exactly? Agnes asked. A curse, it is. One that is meant to have an owner, Nave said. Ika was confused by those words. It took her a moment to somewhat understand his point. Fran, was it? For what reason? Ika asked. Nave didn't respond. Who else knows about this? Agnes asked. One more that I wish for, that is for sure. I ask everyone in the construction site to keep their mouths shut, but I suppose Ferran has some allies that I'm not aware of, just like I do, Nave said. Was he planning on taking it out of the academy? Ika asked as she looked deep into the pitch-black darkness in front of her. For that, there was no answer from Nave. Nave is not answering anything, Ika. Just a couple of things, but it's only goes unanswered. Anyways, why are you telling us all this? Agnes asked for a moment. The principal didn't respond right away. Again. I'm not sure. Maybe it is me trying to reflect on everything so far. You came to me looking for answers. I feel obligated to do so after all I put you through. Yeah, that little scare one before? Yeah. There's well tightening his fist. I may not have much time left, so it's up to someone else to deal with this mess, Nave said before starting to make his way back. Ika and Agnes looked at each other for a moment before staring back at Nave with a worried expression. Hey, don't pin this on us! Hopefully not. Oh yeah, they're still out here dealing with this woman. Millie got up on her feet, trying her best to keep her balance. Her attempt proved futile since she was suddenly struck by vertigo and fell, landing on her buttocks. You can just say lying on her back or just landing on the floor. Oh, I can't, Millie complained. Stay down, Wu said as she stared at this. There was an awkward silence between the four women until Wu finally stepped forward. This confuses this right away. Why would the commander allow herself to get jinxed? This noticed the hair-like structures began to dissolve around Wu. As she walked towards this, none of the hairs lasted long enough to touch her. This was shocked and stepped backwards once. She knew very well that she had no chance of fighting Wu. I have to give it to you. This is very impressive, Wu said as she moved her hand close to one of the hairs, bending it in a very pronounced curve before it fizzled out. Too bad the ceiling is a little too tall for you to jinx. You can simply have an infinite tall structure like this without it taking a toll on your body. That's why I assume you can only cast this while indoors, Wu said calmly. They are very fine-tuned, but because of their length, it is very easy to disrupt them, Wu said. This became agitated by Wu approaching just like that. Her antennae moves hastily, crafting a hair right in the path of U, but it was destroyed before it even materialized. Stop belittling me, this hissed with an angry expression. You must be confused. I'm praising you. Designing jinxes is a challenging job. You have my respect, U said as she stood right in front of this. She was much shorter than U, so the commander had to look down on her. We are in a hurry, U said as she stared down at this with very unfriendly eyes. These eyes squinted as his face displayed a mix of anger and fear. Every single one of the hair-like structures was torn apart from the middle section, all at the same time. The moment the jinx was dispelled, Miller's vision returned back to normal. My head, Miller complained before getting up. She grabbed his spear as soon as she could and made her way across the room. She ran past U. They smiled at each other. Maldo, keep an eye on her, U yelled, following Miller into the construction site soon after. Yes, Maldo shouted as she quickly flew across the room and landed close to this, her tail smacking against on the floor, warning the woman to stay still. I mean, we're seeing a very impressive this display of feats of strength, which is very interesting because I mean, so far it doesn't seem like anything too crazy, wasn't like something to be wary about. It's like you can just fisticuffs these people. Alright. The darkness of the construction site made it hard for Miller to see what was ahead, but her senses were keen enough to identify any threat long before she encountered it. A few voices echoed through the construction site, which led Miller towards a specific hallway. It didn't take long before she found Foran and Abe halfway through the long hallway. You can have me if you let them go, Abe said, referring to Agnes and Ika, who were right behind him. Foran looked over his shoulder, not noticing Miller approaching. Fair enough, Foran said with a smile across his face. Go now, Abe said to Agnes and Ika, who hesitated at first, but knew they couldn't do much about it. Miller stood still, ready to deal with Foran if he did anything strange while Ika and Agnes got to safety. Foran looked at Agnes and Ika and followed them with his eyes as they walked past him. We were right at that moment, trying to read the situation before acting. Very well then, shall we? No tricks this time, Foran said before he approached Abe. The principal remained in his initial position. He got what he wanted. Nate was at peace with whatever Foran did. His plan had been frustrated already. The look in Foran's eyes let him know that the man was out for blood. Just as Foran was making his way towards Nate, Miller struck his spear into the floor. A barrier was created right in front of Foran's face. Foran was more than annoyed by the commander's action. We told you already. You have no reason to be in Lupom anymore. We're the ones in charge of arresting this man, Miller said. Foran closed his eyes, trying to calm himself down. He hit himself on the chest several times with his right fist, followed by some very deep breaths. Nate remained silent, wondering what Foran would do. The Shelsen administration is nothing more than a nuisance for the Grand Sins delegation. The only reason it exists is because your decrepit fox has good relation with most of the 12 monarchs of Suhar. The moment that link weakens, there will be no reason to keep her around, Foran said. The man clapped his hands together and then extended them to his sides, elbows against his body. Miller could only describe his expression as smug. All yours, Foran said before making his way back, walking past Miller and U, the latter actively protecting Agnes and Ika. Once the man was close to the other side of the barrier, Miller removed her spear, allowing him to leave. Miller looked over her shoulder. Once the man couldn't be seen or heard, she approached Nave. You have a lot of explaining to do, Miller said to Nave. The man simply moved his hand inside of his chest and pulled his metallic heart out. It was still connected to his body by a few thin ash veins. You're leaving this place on your own 2 feet, U said as she approached them. Carrying your heart around will only be a burden when this isn't over yet, U said. Miller sighed, hoping U was wrong. It ain't over until it's over. There's a lot of hands into this mess. The group made their way out of the construction site, just to find Maldov alone. Farhan's assistant had left with him. Ika! Maldov screamed as she saw her daughter approach. She embraced her daughter as hard as she could, spinning once after picking her up. Maldov broke down in tears, finally, getting down on her knees and holding her tight. Why? Why would you do this? Maldov scolded her daughter. Ika slowly embraced her mother back with an awkward expression on her face. I told you to leave the academy. I told you to get to safety. Why didn't you listen? Maldov asked, with tears rolling down her face. Her mother's whip finally made Ika cry herself. Agnes was very angry with himself. He didn't think it would be as dangerous as he had been. He just now realized how stupid the idea was. I'm disappointed in both of you. However, I can overlook the fact that you actually helped a lot today. Maldov said, trying to calm herself down. It was obvious to her that Nave would probably be dead if it wasn't for them. Agnes scratched the back of his head upon hearing that. He wasn't particularly happy with the outcome, even though it was somewhat positive. I'll take whatever punishment you see fit, Agnes said. Ika spoke almost right away. I want the same punishment, without letting go of her mother. That goes without saying, Maldov said before moving her daughter away, ending the embrace. Maldov moved her knees off the floor and squatted. She grabbed Ika's wrist in a gentle manner. I don't want either of you to get involved with the investigation for now. Not until we are out of Lupomo. You will live with the rest of the students for now. Understood? Maldov said. Yes, Agnes said out loud, while Ika just nodded with tears in her eyes. U and Milia remained silent. They clearly needed a breather and were allowing Maldov to take control of the situation. Her being a mother was the kind of energy that the situation needed. Agnes looked towards U and Milia and spoke to them. We know exactly what's down there and why Nave protected that place so restlessly, Agnes said. The commander stared at Agnes, allowing him to continue. There is a huge deposit of bar inside a hollow chamber of the tree, Agnes explained. Milia and U were slightly shocked upon hearing that. Farhan must have known about it. That's why he was one step ahead, Milia said. A fragment? U asked right away. Agnes simply shook his head. Not that Nave is aware of. Agnes said, while looking at Nave out of the corner of his eye. We started thinking of several reasons as to why this could be happening. Taking control of the academy might have given him enough time to take the bar out of it. But why would he be interested in just that? U asked without expecting an answer. Nave spoke right after. I did an investigation regarding that man. While I waited for him to come to arrest me, he appears to be an art collector of sorts in his free time, and has been in several projects in which bar might be related, Nave said. If you ask me, he must be gathering it, all he can get his hands on, Nave continued. But why? That thing is useless without a fragment. Even with one, there isn't much to gain from it other than it becoming an empty idol. Milia asked. Only the conceptual bodies of the gods can move freely inside of it. He must have something bigger planned. If it was within my power, I would get rid of it all. This world mustn't become the gods' playground once more, Nave said. Neither of the commanders knew how to respond to that. This whole operation was a failure because of Farhan. Let's try to get this done the right way. Nave, you will come with us to Foxtrot, U said to the principal. Nave remained motionless, understanding perfectly his position in this whole situation. What about the Constellatio? Miller asked. I have released him. All of the remaining agents as well, Nave said. Miller frowned upon hearing that. I fear you were the one behind all that nonsense. I secretly hope that wasn't the case, Miller said. U sighed. She was angry at Nave for pulling them through all of that, but trusting him much more than Farhan right now. We have to get the students out, U said before she was interrupted by someone. Oh, it's me. Did I miss something? It's an entire brawl. Well, it's not like he could have done much about it. Being right at that moment, through one of the exits. He looked quite agitated and in some pain. "You better come quick," Vin said without wasting any second. "Vin?" a very worried mother. "Shit is going out outside, it's just raining fire, shit!" A new star has appeared in the sky. A blinding gleam obfuscated your path. Alright. The next episode, shit goes down again. Well, I guess we'll see what Ben is talking about. The sky is falling or something. I guess we'll see in a moment. I mean, it really ramped up the last couple of chapters. We're on the platform. One Miller reached the west platform of Lupomo, where they found that a very bizarre scene was already unfolding. A very large wyvern was sitting near the edge of the platform, screeching towards two of U's bodyguards who were flying above them. The wyverns of U's bodyguards were no match for the one on the platform. Foran was near the large wyvern, along with his assistant, who appeared to be on the ground, one arm covered in blood. Ekilili, a woman with long, floppy bunny ears, was engaging them in combat. Why were they fighting? I guess we'll know. She was wearing the school's casual personal attire, which was all they needed to know to understand she was either a teacher or a prefect. The Ekilili had managed to do a sneak attack on Foran, which was disrupted by this, hurting her badly in the process. Foran was able to step aside from every single attempt the woman made to latch onto him. The magical safety nets continued to remain disabled, as the exterior barrier that surrounded Lupomo appeared to have damaged the accumulator that kept the spell active. A fall from that height would certainly be fatal. After toying with her for around 15 seconds, Foran grabbed the Ekilili by the neck. Meteor and U were instantly distracted by gasps coming from their left. There was a large amount of teachers, parents and students watching from the edge of a different platform. "Yeah!" The Ekilili grabbed Foran's wrist and tried to hurt him by digging her nails deep inside his arm. There was no reaction from Foran. "Stop! What are you trying to accomplish here?" Meteor yelled, hoping to take control of the situation. Foran looked back at Meteor, unhappy about her presence. He opened his hand without breaking eye contact with the commander. As the Ekilili was falling, Foran kicked her right in the stomach, launching her upwards in the middle of the platform. A screech could be heard instead of what one would have expected from such a kick. This caused a reaction from everyone that were watching from the platforms. This is not going to look this is not going to look good for the administration. U quickly moved forward, followed closely by Meteor. "Why must there always be something else?" Meteor complained. One Meteor quickly made their way towards the Ekilili and kneeled right next to her. "Please," the woman coughed a few times before continuing. "Please, don't let him leave. I know him. He's a conman. Someone in the government is protecting him. If he leaves now, he'll go into hiding." The Ekilili begged them at them both. After standing up, we'll look at Foran. "We're the ones in charge now. What do you think?" Meteor asked, who had her hand on the Ekilili's stomach, trying to at least ease the pain by numbing the area with some cold air. They both knew that arresting an investigation bureau chief would be more than certainly become a bureaucratic nightmare for Xiao, who sighed as she stared at Foran, who had approached his assistant to help her stand up. "With both of us, she'll be able to take him down fairly easily," Wu said. "Is that a yes?" Meteor asked with a smile. Wu smiled and nodded while looking back at Meteor. They both felt that at that moment, a large presence quickly approaching. Someone was attacking them from above. Meteor quickly grabbed onto the teacher and pulled her out of danger, while U stepped back just as quickly. The person landed right where Meteor and U were a moment ago, making the entire platform shake under their feet and creating a shockwave that sent leaves and petals flying everywhere. Jolby stood up in the middle of the platform, blocking their path to Foran. Foran was also surprised by the constellarity of sudden appearance, just as much as Meteor and U were. With a low and deep voice, Jolby spoke. "My mission appears to be incomplete, and if it's destined to remain that way, I will at least complete part of my contract," Jolby said. Part of your contract? Miller asked. The safety of Mr. Foran, Joby said aloud. Wu and Miller were confused. Why was the Constellatio so adamant to keep him safe when the failure of the operation was Foran's fault? You must be stupid if you haven't realized that your mission is over. Get out of the way, Miller shouted. Can't do, Joby said before staring at Wu for a moment, before looking back at Miller. My contract has nothing to do with the government. I will make sure to complete my client's request till the end, Joby said. Wu walked towards Miller without getting her eyes off Joby, and spoke as soon as she was close to her. It sounds like a personal conflict. Why would Crater be okay with helping us, but not him? Wu muttered. Since they couldn't get into the Constellatio's head, the commander decided it was best to arrest Joby as well. You're all getting arrested. Assist me, please, Wu said. I'll take him out. Miller didn't seem to understand at first, but after exchanging a few gazes with Wu, she became aware of what she meant. She stood up and walked up to her and remained behind Wu, so Joby couldn't see what was going on. After placing her hand on Wu's back, her eyes changed color for a second, before going back to normal. Be careful, Wu. I don't think that shield can last more than 3 hits, maybe 2, knowing that, man. I'll try to stop Foran, Miller said to Wu. From Joby's perspective, they were simply talking to each other. Miller walked past Wu from behind to the other side. Thank you, Wu said with a smile. Wu's remaining bodyguard used the leaves and branches as cover to conceal the presence until they were ready to launch their attack. They crashed against Foran's wyvern in a quick swoop and were sent tumbling down as they used their claws to keep at each other's at distance. Foran looked down below, slightly annoyed by this. He wasn't worried about his creature, since these small wyverns were just a mere distraction for his powerful beast. He knew it would return to the platform eventually.